5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Please do not change channel.
From Krypton Radio, brought to you by Famous Faces and Funnies and Off the Chain with Yvonne Mason, it's the Hanging with Web Show Radio Hour, the Internet's premier pop culture talk radio show. You're tuned in, you're logged on, and now your hosts, G.W. Pomichter and Christian Basil. Who are you hanging with?
Hello, Krypton Radio. Hello, World Wide Web. Hello, everybody, and a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. It is December 2018. You're listening to the Hangin' with Web Show Radio Hour. It is the season. We're going to talk about the reason.
Joy.
Yes. It is the happiest time of the year. Not for all, but for many. It is the most celebrated holiday on planet Earth.
It is.
It is the most celebrated holiday season on planet Earth. And we're going to talk about why tonight. I'm G.W. Pomichter.
I'm Sage Ia.
I'm Deanna Marie.
And I'm Stephen Pomichter.
That's right. We're here in the studio with our family, and we're going to talk to you and your family about the holiday season and what we're celebrating and why we're celebrating it. And, I don't know. We'll just have some fun.
I think so.
That's really cool.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So let's start. It is December. Which I was doing some research earlier, and I was looking for, holidays each month by month. And, some of the bigger months have up to, 8, 9 holidays in them. When I got to December, there are like 35 holidays being celebrated simultaneously by multiple ethnic groups, religions, nationalities. I mean, everybody's celebrating something in December. And it goes back. It's not just like today. Today we know Christmas as the commercial Christmas that we all, we hang lights on the tree, we buy presents ad nauseum, we eat until we're overstuffed. But around the world, for centuries, December has been the month of celebration. Which is odd. So we're going to start the show by just sort of, we're going to give you some of the let's say the highlights, the top 10 holidays being celebrated right now in December. While you're decorating your Christmas tree and you're shopping and you're doing all of those things, we're going to tell you what else is being celebrated. Some good, some
are they
dark,
national?
some scary. Well, some of them are national. Some of them are. Some of them are religious. Some of them are historical holidays.
Some have been around for a long time.
Some have been around for a long time.
Anyone still celebrate the pagan?
There are a whole list of pagan holidays here, and yes, and they're being celebrated to this day in some places. I'll tell you what. Let's start with the central core holidays. Right now, we're finishing up the 7-8 days really of Hanukkah.
Yes.
Hanukkah, for those of you who aren't familiar, we learned a couple weeks ago with our guest author Peter J. Wax on the show. Hanukkah is the celebration of survival. When the new temple was built and attacked by the Syrians, the Hebrews were forced to undergo a siege, and they survived the siege, and each day lighting a candle represents the light in the darkness of the siege. And toys such as the dreidel, which are designed to teach children lessons from the faith, were used and occupy time during the siege. So those things have been passed on. So every year, the Festival of Lights, Hanukkah, is celebrated that there was a tomorrow. There was indeed survival at the end of that. And that plays right into one of the things I want to talk about later in the show, which is why this holiday season is so very important across humanity.
Yes.
So that's one holiday that's going on, is the Jewish festival of Hanukkah. There's also, for all the good and on the positive things that we focus on, Christmas in large part, in its current shape, has been shaped by different ways that different groups, including our religions, would like to control our behavior, modify our behavior. And, Santa Claus is a great example of that because, we celebrate St. Nicholas. We also celebrate the caricature Santa Claus. who brings presents and toys and to all the good girls and boys. But the carrot wasn't always enough. They needed a stick, too.
Sometimes it was a very big stick.
Yeah. So on December 5th, still celebrated in parts of Europe, by the way, is Krampusnacht.
Oh, Krampus. Better watch out.
The night of Krampus. And Krampus is the Anti-Claus.
He is the Anti-Claus.
He comes to punish the bad boys and girls.
So is he the Grinch?
Worse. I mean, in classical tradition, he came to drag them to hell.
Well.
And that was pretty brutal.
See?
Yeah.
Have you always wondered when we sing that song, you better watch out?
Oh, yeah.
That's
you
why.
Better watch out, Krampus.
Well, I'm staying on the good list this year.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay.
That's a good idea.
They still celebrate. There are people who actually dress up as Krampus, and it got to be so crazy that you actually had to wear a number, so that if violence broke out, they could find which Krampus you were.
Which Krampus caused trouble.
I just want to say, so what do? Do you get a Krampus license? Because otherwise I would just switch numbers with somebody else.
See, you're a naughty Krampus. The other Krampuses are coming for you. The other Krampuses will be coming for you.
What does Krampus look like?
Ooh, very fiendish, devilish horns. Does
he wear the traditional red and white?
I don't think so. I think he's more animalistic, more demonic than that. We also celebrate, amazingly enough, here's some math for you, everybody out there. This is a science fiction channel on Krypton Radio where we first air the show. Here's some interesting mathematics for you. We're celebrating the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, happened on December 8th.
That was fast.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. The Immaculate Conception, December 8th, followed by Christmas, December 25th. And does anybody have a problem with that math?
Doesn't take 9 months?
That's what I read that somewhere once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but at any rate, there it is, December 8th, the Immaculate Conception. Saint Lucia, December 13th. Lots of saints.
Swedish fun.
Lots of saints.
Yes.
Lots of saints.
Saints go marching in.
Nice. Very nicely done, son.
Thank you.
Yeah. St. John the Evangelist. St. Stephen's Day, December 26th.
There you go,
Celebrated
Stephen.
You're welcome.
Germany, Poland, and the Czech Republic. Obviously the 12 days of Christmas, which, by the way, for those of you who don't know, we're not like in the 12 days of Christmas right now. The 12 days of Christmas actually begin
on the 25th, right?
With Christmas, that's right.
Yes.
It's from the 25th of December to the 6th of January.
And also in the Christian calendar, that section of the year is also known as Epiphany.
Oh, see? There you go. So this is the time it takes the wise men and everyone to get notified that the Christ child has been born. And so it takes some time to get there.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they have to walk everywhere.
It took them a lot longer than it did him.
But apparently, yeah. That's funny. From the 8th to December. Yeah. Nice. So we also have, in the Christmas story, there's the story of Mary and Joseph returning to Bethlehem for the census.
Yes.
And they're poor, and there's no place to stay. So from December 16th to 24th, we celebrate the reenactment, if you will, of Mary and Joseph's journey through Bethlehem, looking for a place to stay, which has got to be a lot like caroling. Just knock on the door. Hey, let me in. No. Next door, until we find a stable.
Is that how caroling started?
No, actually. Caroling started. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. We're going to talk about Christmas traditions and the holiday traditions and where they started.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them
Caroling was naughty, too.
Caroling was naughty, too. There were a lot of naughty. They actually...
See, that's why we had to have Krampus and the Yule Cat and all of those things, because we were naughty.
Yule Cat?
We'll talk about that a little later on. But we have some other holidays going on, too. We talked about Hanukkah. We talked about Christmas. Historical calendar holidays are going on. The date of Christmas was actually, as we talked about, Mary and Joseph had returned to Bethlehem for the census, which takes place sometime in late spring, early summer, so around June. Mm-hmm. So why December? Well, it turns out that when the Romans adopted Christianity and they were looking at the calendar, there was already this huge festival going on in Rome, the Festival of Saturnalia. Yes, which is held somewhere between December 17th and 23rd, and it's the winter solstice festival for them. It's so, and it was the largest holiday at the time, so we kind of assimilated that culture into our Christmas traditions. So that's one of the older holidays. We also have the Solus Invicti holiday celebration that is passed down from the Romans, celebrated December 25th on the money, and it is the day of the birth of the unconquered sun.
The day of the birth of the unconquered sun.
Apparently, science has been struggling with this one for a long time. Apparently, the sun is some 5 billion years old. Apparently, we know exactly the birth date. It's 25th of December.
Nice.
I made that up.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Well,
that is the day that it is celebrated. It's the Festival of the Sun. Obviously.
Then it's got to be true.
It's on the Internet.
Oh, then it's definitely true.
There you go. We just put it there. We just put it on the Internet. There's the Yule celebration, the pagan winter festival, celebrated by the Germanic people, which is Germany and Poland and Austria, the whole region of Europe that was once Germania, outside of the Roman Empire. And the winter festival is celebrated, the Yule festival. Yalda, that's right. December 21st, Yalda, is the turning point in the winter solstice.
Aha.
Okay, so this is the point at which we start counting down that we might actually live through the winter.
Winter is coming.
No, winter is going.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Winter is going at this point. Yalda is the 21st of December. We're celebrating. Hey, it's leaving now. The White Walkers are returning to the north. See if we could just waited a little while longer.
Telling you.
That's right.
Well, then there's one of my favorites too,
Yeah.
just because I think it's fun, is Boxing Day.
Boxing Day, yes.
Boxing Day. They celebrate it in Australia and Canada.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes the Irish celebrate it too. But one of the things I thought
What are we celebrating on Boxing Day? What is the celebration exactly?
Well, that is a good question, and I'll answer that, except that I want to tell you something first, because I think it's the coolest thing.
All right.
So when Santa gets to Australia...
Yes. He's tired.
Yes, and so are his reindeer. And so when he delivers presents in Australia, the reindeer get a rest, and he uses 6 white boomers.
Which, for those of you on the internet that don't know, a boomer is the slang term for a kangaroo.
For a kangaroo, that's right. There's a song. It's called The 6 White Boomers. It's an Australian Christmas song.
An Australian Christmas song, The 6 White Boomers. Huh.
Isn't that awesome?
I've never seen a white kangaroo.
Well, apparently that's a Christmas thing. Nice.
It's like the second celebration.
Okay.
Kind of like, almost like a
second Christmas.
Like a Hobbit. Yes,
it's a Hobbit Christmas.
Second Christmas.
Of course it is.
So, but it started.
It's Australia.
It started in the UK like 800 years ago.
That's awesome.
So yes,
that is fantastic.
Well, because it was the day when the alms box.
Okay.
Alms for the poor, when that would go around. And so the contents could be distributed. So that was Boxing Day.
Okay,
exactly.
All right, very good. We have to take a commercial break, guys. We're going to talk about more fantastic holidays. We're going to talk about more of the holiday spirit, what makes this season so special to so many around the world when we come back. So stay tuned in and stay logged on, because we'll be right back.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Channeling the Mothership is an exciting journey into the higher mysteries. Certified psychic medium and clairvoyant Jerry McDaniel's readings, writings, and messages have been received by thousands of people in more than 45 countries. These messages have been obtained by channeling his higher self. How does he do it? Is it a blessing or a curse? And what lay beyond the reach of your 5 senses? Channeling the Mothership. Explore the mysteries of the spiritual and the metaphysical. Channeling the Mothership by author Jerry McDaniel. Available on Amazon.com today.
Grab some altitude and adventure together at Pound the Grape. It's all about an adventure above the crowd. There's always something different happening there, from painting to food pairings to dancing. But one thing's rock solid, people sharing incredible wines from around the world. And if that's not what puts Lift under your wing, try their craft beer. Grab some altitude and adventure at Pound the Grape. Find more at poundthegrape.com. Poundthegrape.com. Pour a glass of adventure.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Hangin with Web Show Radio Hour. We are in week 3 of our celebration of the holidays in fiction. Today we're actually talking a little more about fact than fiction. Today we're talking about the traditions and the holiday customs celebrated around the world during the December holiday season. For us here in America, the holiday season starts right around Thanksgiving, when we gorge ourselves celebrating the first harvest of the year, the first Thanksgiving with the early pilgrims to the United States and the Native Americans sitting down and sharing a meal from the first harvest. From that moment on, it seems that the holiday spirit is present.
Yes.
Did you see what I did there?
I see what you did
there. And so, but around the world, this season starts at different times, obviously. And we were talking earlier about Australia, Boxing Day, which is December 26th. Human Rights Day, very important to this time of year, and we're going to get to that a little later on. Human Rights Day is December 10th. So if you haven't celebrated just your humanity and the individual rights that each of us have as human beings on this planet, celebrate today. Celebrate tomorrow. Celebrate any day you want. We said every day should be Human Rights Day.
Yes.
Every day. We have the Dongzai Festival. It's a celebration of winter. Here's a fun one. I know Sage knows about this one. Hogmanay.
Oh.
It's Scottish.
Yes, Hogmanay.
It's the Scottish celebration.
Yes.
What does it celebrate?
Okay, well, it celebrates the coming of the new year because they've made it. The Scots is very tough, especially in the Highlands, right?
Aye,
so they celebrate and they go around and they visit all of their neighbours, and then it's first foot. So whoever's the first one to step across your threshold, that it signifies certain things. Don't have a red-haired person.
That sounded Russian about it. Don't have a red-haired person.
So
yes, I don't know.
I couldn't quite keep it going there. But the most favorable was a tall, dark-haired man, the first one to cross your threshold, and they brought small gifts.
Isn't
like
that like everywhere?
Salt or bread.
Isn't that like everywhere? Like
you will meet a tall, dark, handsome stranger kind of thing?
Isn't that sort of, okay. So
well, wait, because one of the fun things about Hogmanay is the blazing balls of fire.
What?
Right, because they would celebrate, and then you would have some kind of wire or some kind of ball that you formed, and you would stuff it with rags today as newspapers, and you would light it on fire, and you'd swing it over your head and walk down the street, woo, and hoop and holler, and hopefully, hopefully you wouldn't set anybody's roof on fire. Lots of thatch roofs out there, but still, it's fun.
Wow.
Did they throw them, or just spin them around?
Wow. You just got to swing it over your head like...
Well, everybody thinks that this time of year is really, and it is grounded, obviously, in the Christian tradition of Christmas. But everybody thinks this time of year is a religious period in time. There's Newtonmas, which is December 25th, and it is an alternative to celebrating the Christian tradition of Christmas. Some atheists and skeptics, etc., have chosen to celebrate Newtonmas. Like as in Newton, Isaac Newton.
Yes, I was just going to say, I bet you I know what they eat. Apple pie.
Oh, wow. Okay. Not a religious holiday. Not a religious holiday at all. Not in competition with Christmas in any way, shape, or form, is the Pan-African tradition of Kwanzaa, which is celebrated from the 26th of December to the 1st of January. It is a celebration of community, and it is basically a kind of Thanksgiving, because it's a celebration of the first harvest. That, here's the food for the winter, and here's the community that's going to share it. And if we don't gorge ourselves for these 5 days, we might actually survive the winter. So that's the celebration of community.
If we don't, or if we do gorge ourselves, we'll survive.
I don't think so. I think Thanksgiving is kind of a misnomer, I think. I think if you eat all the food that you just harvested in one meal, it's going to be a long winter.
Well, maybe think about it as sharing, though. So
Yes.
you have a bountiful harvest, and you want to share it with everybody.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But then everybody brings something to share.
Yeah.
That's thoughtful.
It is, isn't it?
Also, we mentioned it many times. We use the word over and over again, but there is an actual holiday, which is December 21st, which is solstice.
Oh, yes.
Which is the pinnacle of the winter. The solstice.
Yes. There is another one.
Oh.
Omisoka.
One more time.
Omisoka.
Okay, which is?
I might actually pronounce that wrong, but that is a celebration of the New Year in Japan.
Okay.
Yes.
All
However, they welcome it by cleaning house and repaying debts and driving out evil spirits and bathing.
Well, you have to celebrate the New Year repaying debts because you just had Christmas where you ran up a bunch of debt.
Yeah.
And bathing. However, I was to say, more recently, they have also begun celebrating with friends and family. So
very cool.
So everybody gathers together.
Well, that's the thing.
Clean house.
All around the world, we've hit all of these holidays for the first 1.5 segments of the show. We've shared all of these different holidays, and there are so many more, guys.
There really
are.
So
many more. This is the season of celebration. And there has to be a reason for that. What speaks to human beings about this time of year that makes them celebrate? What are our favorite holiday traditions? What are our favorite customs and courtesies? We all know the commercial side of Christmas. We know, this is shopping season. Everybody's buying presents and that kind of thing. But what makes this time of year so special? We're going to go around the studio. We're going to talk to everybody and find out what our Hangin' with Web Show crew finds so special about this time of year. We want you to think about it at home. What makes this time of year special to you? Whether you're celebrating Hanukkah or Christmas, whether you're celebrating one of these secular holidays or an ancient holiday, what makes this time of year so special to you? So we're going to go around the studio here really quick. We're going to start with our own Deanna Marie at the soundboard. Deanna, what do you love about this time of year? What makes it special to you?
It's when spending it with family, especially with people that travel a lot and family that's far away. They usually try and get together around this time of year, so I like spending it with family.
That's awesome. Any special Christmas traditions that stand out to you? What's your favorite Christmas tradition? Is it the cooking? Is it the baking? Is it the?
Oh, I love baking.
You like baking?
Baking. I don't put me in front of a stove to cook an actual meal, but I can bake really well.
She makes a good pie.
She makes a good pie, huh? All right. Favorite pie?
Apple
Pie.
Oh,
she's celebrating Newtonmas.
Yes.
Newtonmas. With apples. That's right. We have our dear son Stephen Pomichter in the studio with us today to talk about Christmas. Stephen, what is your favorite part of this time of the year? What really gets under your skin? Why do you celebrate the winter holiday season?
Well, more or less of what my my beloved mother said. Family. I do love the collective of having everybody to come together and be around for the holiday season, especially those who are further away than the ones here at home always. But also, I love decorating. It's a great time of year to just go nuts. Each year you can decorate your house differently, and but it's still festive.
It's a celebration of artistic expression.
Yes.
You get to express your joy in different ways.
Exactly.
And whether it's tinsel and lights or ornaments or trees or doing the rooftops, it's a really cool time.
Exactly.
Stephen's always been out there as we celebrate the holidays here. With me dreaming up new ways to put new stuff on the house.
I especially love this year that we incorporated our beloved grape arbor as like a tree, and we decorated with lights and garland.
We did. The folks on the radio may not know this. At the Hangin' with the Wave Show home base here, the whole home place.
Ye old homestead.
Yeah. A few years ago, as our children were getting older and growing up and going off to college and the service and jobs and whatnot, Stephen and Briar and Dylan and some of the kids helped us to plant a grape vine, and we've since had to expand and build a great big arbor in our front yard. And this year we decorated that, and we put a Christmas tree right in the middle and for the neighborhood kids. And the neighborhood kids all came by and put ornaments on the tree.
They had such a good time.
It was a really good time. So that's a lot of fun. And Stephen got to pass down his love of decorating to all the neighborhood children, which is a lot of fun. So, Sage, how about you? What about this time of year speaks to you?
Well, and there you are, like with the celebration with the neighborhood children. And it's so much fun because everybody gets together. It's a heightened awareness of joy and giving. There seems to be something there. I always loved... when I was a little girl, we did midnight mass all the time, and everybody trooped out in the middle of the night, but you got to dress up, and so it was very special. And then you got to church, and all the music was there, and everybody sang, and it was a feeling of community, which was awesome over the Christmas holidays. So, and of course, there's incense. I always did love the incense. My father always tried to sit as close to the incense as possible. So, and he enjoyed the service that way. So, but the other thing is I always did like Charlie Brown. Because you have to watch the Charlie Brown special. That's so much fun.
I like the Christmas stories that come out this time of year.
Yes.
I really do. And if you're watching, if you're listening to the show here on Krypton Radio, you heard me confess just 2 weeks ago that one of my guilty pleasures at Christmas time are those silly Hallmark Channel original Christmas movies. They're formulaic. You know what's going to happen. They're repetitive. And in that, I find something so comforting in watching those stories unfold. They're love stories, and they're almost all a Christmas Carol knockoff. They start out with a jaded person who goes through transformation over the holidays. It's sort of the formula, but it works, and it's comforting. And it reminds us of the season in so many different ways. So
now I will tell you that there's, as I was checking out things for the show and traditions and odd things, because I like odd things. If anybody hasn't known that, if you follow the Hangin' with Web show, you know I like to find strange little wacky holidays. But there's a Christmas tradition that nobody seems to know where it came from. Has anybody ever heard of the Christmas pickle?
Did you say the Christmas pickle?
The Christmas pickle, okay. And if our wonderful friend Xander Perello is out there, he's our pickle guy from the Brevard Ren Fair.
Yes.
He would especially love this. So now there's a story that goes that in the American Civil War, there was a prisoner, and he begged the guard for a last pickle before he died, and the guard took pity on him and gave him a pickle, which helped him survive. But that's just kind of a myth. Actually, in the 1880s, the Woolworth stores started selling glass ornaments, and one of them was a pickle. So it could all just be a commercial thing, but it's become a tradition for the Christmas pickle, and the first child to find the pickle on the tree gets an extra present.
You get an extra present for finding a pickle?
Yes.
Oh, right. That's
cool.
Cool.
Isn't that kind of cool?
Awesome.
We got to start that tradition.
We got to, yeah, no doubt. When we get back, we're going to talk about some more favorite Christmas holiday traditions that we have here at the Hangin' with Web show, and that all of you out there in Radio Land celebrate. When we get back, though, we're going to talk about, this is the holidays in fiction. And when we get back, we're going to talk about some of the holidays that have been inspired by the season in some of your favorite fiction or science fiction properties. There are a bunch of fictional holidays that happen at the same time of year, and we're going to talk about those when we get back. Right now, we have to take a little bit of a commercial break, so remember, everybody, stay logged on, stay tuned in, because we'll be right back.
Best-selling and award-winning author of true crime and crime fiction, Yvonne Mason is back with a brand new book, The Pink Canary, a book that delves into the life of a drag queen and a marvelous whodunit. You can find this and all of Yvonne's other works on Amazon.com, or find Yvonne Mason on Facebook and Twitter.
He's gonna kill me.
Buy your copy of Pink Canary now.
The Hanging with Web Show Radio Hour on Krypton Radio, bringing you the very best in pop culture talk radio. Each Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, the Hanging with Web Show Radio Hour with your hosts G.W. Pomichter and Christian Basil, who are hanging with rising pop culture newcomers as well as superstar icons. The Hanging with Web Show Radio Hour. Tune in Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Who are you hanging with?
Fiore is a young Italian woman engaged to be married, but her plans are interrupted by a charismatic Sebastian, a handsome middle-aged Spanish businessman. Her beauty strikes him like a thunderbolt sent by the goddess Venus herself. When she's given a peculiar gift, a Spanish doll, she's thrown into a whirlwind of entangled passion, money, secrets, and love.
Their romance sparks in a charming little Italian town located on the southern part of Lake Garda in northern Italy and takes them around the globe.
What happens when her life is suddenly shattered by a lifelong secret? Her Spanish doll will bring you to a caliente Spain
and a romantic Italy,
adding some spice along the way. Available at www.joannesbooks.com.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Hangin with Web Show Radio Hour on Krypton Radio. We are talking about the holiday season. We talked a little bit about the history of Christmas. We talked a little bit about our own Christmas traditions and our own holiday traditions. We talked a little bit about Hanukkah and some of the international holidays that are celebrated around the world this time of year. And now we're going to dive into fictional or parody holidays that are celebrated this time of year.
I've got a great one.
You got a great one? What is
I do.
It? What?
Because it was one of my favorite series.
Okay.
By David Eddings. He did the Belgariad series and the Malorian series, and they celebrated Erastide.
Okay, so pronounce that?
Erastide.
Erastide.
Yes.
Okay, and what is Erastide?
It was a celebration on the day that the seven gods created the world.
Okay.
And that was in there. And I'll tell you what, Aunt Paul was in her kitchen because she was she was a sorceress too. She could do incredible magic, but she made
in the kitchen.
Yeah,
awesome
everywhere. But she made awesome food.
Awesome. Okay, and I understand a tradition of the Erastide holiday was also gift exchanges,
of course,
and feasts.
Yeah, see? Hence the cooking and the baking.
So again, inspired.
There's always food.
That's right. Yeah. Well, those of you familiar with the internationally renowned video game series, the World of Warcraft game, might know that they have a holiday that's very much based on Christmas called the Feast of the Winter Veil, celebrated from December 15th to January 2nd. The Feast of the Winter Veil. And they have they've even sort of taken the Christmas traditions and renamed them. So they have a Santa Claus figure who is the Great Father Winter.
Ooh.
Yeah. Huh? And it is, I'm told, in some of the pagan religions like Wicca or the Wiccan tradition, the Feast of the Winter Veil is actually still celebrated as a legitimate holiday in many European regions. Isn't that neat?
That is really cool.
It's a fictional holiday that is still celebrated internationally during this time of year. Stephen, what do you think? You have a favorite fictional holiday that's celebrated this time of year? He's absolutely stunned.
He is. You know what I always thought was funny? It's not necessarily a science fiction property, but on Seinfeld,
yes,
they had Festivus.
Yeah, Festivus is actually
for the rest of us.
It's a parody holiday, but it was actually coined not just by Seinfeld; it was popularized by Seinfeld. Daniel O'Keefe made Festivus popular, and then Seinfeld obviously used it in the show, and it became, very, very popular at that point. The Artrix Entertainment Universe, which is some games and different stories, has Frost Veil, which I imagine is very similar to the Feast of the Winter Veil as a holiday. Any others stick out?
Oh, yes.
Yeah? What do you
Hogswatch.
got? Hogswatch.
Yes.
What's Hogswatch?
Hogswatch. Well, it celebrates like the New Year's. It's the 32nd of December.
The 32nd of December.
Ha ha ha.
Uh-huh.
How do you like that?
I see.
Yes. It's a pun, on Hogmanay and Watch Night. Kind of some of the traditions of Samhain. Pull it in there. So,
okay.
Witches do not leave the house on Hog's Watch Night, more for tradition than any practical reason. So, but it was really funny because there's a witch, Nanny Ogg, and she gets around that because she invites everybody to her house for the holidays. That way, she doesn't have to go out.
Nice.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So I like Hog's Watch, but it's a Discworld book. they had that in Discworld.
I don't know. I'd be a little hesitant to go to a witch's house. I read Hansel and Gretel. Didn't really,
Yeah. It didn't work out for. It doesn't always work out.
Exactly.
It worked out for Hansel and Gretel. They did okay.
They did okay, but you never know. That you got some.
Yeah, you don't know how that's going to go. Speaking of which,
Ba-dum-bum.
See what I did there? Yeah. What about Decemberween? Anybody know about that one?
All right, Decemberween.
Yeah.
What is that? Like 55 days after Halloween?
Yeah, it is exactly 55 days after Halloween, and it is. It's Christmas. It's sick. It's sick at Halloween for the hobbits, but it's 55 days after Halloween. And it comes from the Homestar Runner series. The Homestar Runner book series is Decemberween. It's a parody of Christmas. It features giving, carols singing. They decorate trees. It takes place on the same day of Christmas. But it has been stated by the authors that any resemblance between Christmas and Decemberween is entirely coincidental.
Oh.
Because really, Decemberween is 55 days after Halloween. And is...
Somebody should tell Jack Skellington.
Yes.
Decemberween.
Ooh, yeah, that would be perfect. Decemberween would be perfect for Jack Skellington. That's right. Wow.
That's it. Oh, there's also Snowdown.
Snowdown.
Yes.
Which is what?
Set in the League of the Legends universe.
Oh, the Runeterra.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But I always thought it was funny because, aside from winter games, one of the things is winter cosmetic map changes.
Winter cosmetic map changes, like the map changes.
Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
The folks in Tennessee know about that this winter.
That's true.
They had a little map change recently.
Yeah. They did, too.
Yeah, they did. It was a magnitude 4 earthquake.
So did Alaska, evidently.
Did that map change?
Yeah, some of the roads went into dead ends, and
that was well put. I hope not well put.
Oh yes.
No. But yeah, okay. So the map changes. Okay. So, wow, there's just a lot going on this time of year.
Always.
It's winter all around a lot of the world, and even in places like we're in sunny Florida, which not so sunny this time of year. It does get a little cooler. We don't talk about the temperature because we don't want any of our northern friends to come hunt us down. But at the same time,
I want to tell you, Stephen had ice on his windshield the other morning
in Florida.
Maybe not ice. Okay, so maybe ice is
no,
a little
no.
much.
It
was frost.
It was 37 when I woke up that morning and I walked out, knock on my windshield. And I wasn't knocking on glass. That was full-fledged ice. I put my windshield wipers on. It wasn't going. It wasn't budging.
Our listeners in Jersey feel no pity for you.
No pity at all whatsoever.
No pity.
Our family in upstate New York, they don't feel any pity for you either.
God bless you guys for having to deal with that every day.
Yeah, it is something, really. But it is. We talked before. This is the most celebrated season globally around the world. We've named off more holidays than we can shake a stick at, really, and including some great fictional holidays. It is made up to fit into the winter season. So, question for everybody: Why? Everything is dead outside. There's, the further north you get, the higher the snow drifts are. You're trapped in your house. Why do we celebrate this season quite so fervently around the world? I'm going to throw this question around the panel here. So we're going to start with Sage. We'll go to Stephen, and then we'll go to Deanna, and then we'll come back to me probably for the break. And then as we come back to me for the break, when I come back on the other side of the break, I'm going to tell you all what I think. So we'll start with Sage. Why party so hard in the winter?
Because we're here.
Ooh.
So I grew up north, and that was the time of year. All the leaves fall from the trees. Everything looks barren. It is freezing cold, as we just talked about. Everybody stays indoors. Several hundred years ago, you had what you had. If you hadn't had your stores for the winter, it's not like you're walking to Walmart to get anything, And if you do have to go out and go hunting, back then, things could eat you. So
and the White Walkers with their giant spiders as big as hounds.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not doing that. But I think we celebrate it because we're here, we're together, we have firewood, and you need a reason to celebrate. You have your family, you have what stores you have, and we're here, so we're going to party.
All right, I like that. Okay, Stephen, what do you think? Why winter, man? Why are we so hell bent on celebrating in the middle of the wintertime?
Well, I would say similar to what Sage said, but also I would say because the wintertime, fall, everything, you see the trees dying and everything, and so it's a celebration of what was and then to what is to become. So the beginning...
He said very Dickens of him, isn't it?
It was.
The beginning of the new time, the new era. So I would say we celebrate that to a part of us to remember what we have done throughout the year, and then to hope to become and do better in the following.
So it's for you a time of reflection, looking back over the year and how it went, and then of course to get ready for the new year.
Exactly.
So as we reflect, we consider,
and there's no one better to do that with than the ones around us that have helped mold us to become those better people.
Awesome. That is really awesome. Dina, we're going to go to you. It's the middle of the winter. It's cold. We know the one thing Dina does not like
cold weather.
Is cold weather.
No.
If it is less than 50 degrees in the morning, there's a better than average chance that she's calling in sick because she doesn't want to open the front door.
Are you
50,
kidding?
75. She's warmed up in a blanket and
72 72 is questionable. But
in the height of summer, if the AC is too cold, Dina's too cold.
That's right. So, Dina, why? It's cold, it's wintry, it's wet.
Well, because I'm stuck inside all day, I need some sort of entertainment. I need some music in the background to keep us occupied, some games to play, need to decorate or do something with ourselves. So, there we go.
And that's why we have so many children in this house. We need something to do in the wintertime. That explains so much.
It certainly does.
It really does.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, it is. It is that time of year. And there's so much going on. As we talked about, so many holidays, so many things, so many traditions being celebrated. They all have one thing in common. In the middle of the dark days, because it is winter, the sun rises later and it sets earlier. The nights are longer and colder. The animals want to eat you. The vegetation stopped growing, so you have nothing to eat. And we need something to get us through. As George Martin wrote, the long night. We need something to get us through the long night. When we come back from the other side of the commercial break, I'm going to tell you all what I think, and we'll talk about that a little bit, about why this holiday season, this holiday, and I am going to go so far as to say that this centers around the Christmas holiday. Whether you are a practicing variation of Christianity or not, the Christmas holiday really is the focal point of the season. I think there's a very good reason for that. I think it has very little to do with belief. I think it has very little to do with just human nature. And we're going to talk about that when we come back on the other side of the commercial break. Until then, everybody, stay tuned in and stay logged on, and we'll be right back.
How you doing, everybody? This is KG Bethlehem. I'm an author of a new book called Certain Moments of Time. It's a collection of short stories. These short stories range from post-apocalyptic, dystopian, anti-utopia, as well as general fiction. You can find Certain Moments of Time on sale at Amazon.com, where you can purchase the ebook format as well as paperback format. You can also purchase it at Lulu.com, paperback format, and will be on sale soon at BarnesandNoble.com.
From the imagination of author Kevin J. Kessler, the Rosinanti dragons are no more. They have fallen into the obscurity of lore. Now warrior Valentine Beret and Seraphina, a magically gifted princess, are on a mission to save the world of Terra. Together they must face the Rosinanti legacy and combat the greatest threat their world has ever known. In the end, who is stronger, the man or the dragon? Find out in Kevin J. Kessler's The Rosinanti series on Amazon.com today.
From some of today's best-selling award-winning authors comes 22 page-turning tales, Cursed Lands.
Cursed Lands will lead you through one doomed world after another in a haunting dystopian urban fantasy.
Join the courageous as they battle for survival across worlds where fae, vampires, angels, witches, and more roam freely.
Cursed Lands is coming soon on Apple Books, Kobo, and Nook.
Pre-order your copy for just 99 cents today.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Hangin' with Web Show Radio Hour. I'm GW Pomichter.
I am Sage Ia.
I'm Stephen Pomichter.
And I'm Deanna Marie.
And we are the Hangin' with Web Show team in the studio as we prepare for the holiday season. Actually, we're in the middle of the holiday season. We're not preparing anymore. We're living it, baby.
We're in it.
We're in it. We are coming to you. We've talked about the holidays in fiction. We've talked about the holiday season. We told you about all the different holidays that are happening at this time of the year, from Hanukkah and Christmas to the Human Light Festival, the Festival of Saturnalia, the great fictional. We have Boxing Day, we have Human Rights Day, we have Hogmanay, and then we have some great fictional holidays like
Snowdown.
That's right, Snowdown, Hogswatch, Festivus, Decemberween. That's kind of a funny one. I like that one. Why this time of year? We heard from all the crew in the studio, and this is the last segment of the show. And this is my chance to stand on my soapbox a little bit and tell you all why I think this season speaks to everybody. And it really does center around Christmas for me. But not because I grew up Catholic and I learned the Christmas stories and the Christmas tales of Christianity. But I gave some thought as I got older to why Christmas. All of the holidays and all of the things that happen throughout the year and within Christendom. The birth of Christ is not the biggest thing he does. He makes blind men see. He walks on water, makes cripples walk again. And then he tops it all off, puts the cherry on top by resurrecting himself from the dead, which one would think would be like the biggest deal ever. But the thing we celebrate the most is the thing that Christ himself simply showed up for. Just showed up. His birth. And yet that becomes the biggest holiday on the face of the planet. A large part of that comes from the brilliance of the Roman Empire at the time and the Roman Catholic Church in assimilating other holidays as they moved across the globe. If they went into the Germanic places, they assimilated the Yule traditions. They assimilated the traditions of the geography they were in. When they got into Londinium, or modern England, or the British Empire, they assimilated the traditions of the locals. They did this very well, but they did this with all kinds of holidays. St. Patrick's Day is a mishmash of Celtic and Christian traditions. They did this with a lot of holidays and a lot of times a year, but Christmas became the one that stuck. It stuck in the hearts and minds of human beings. And I think that's for one reason. Because Christmas celebrates the birth of a child. Not just the Messiah, not just the Christian Christ child. But during the winter time when things are dying and the leaves have fallen off the trees and the snows are up to your windows, the animals want to eat you and the vegetation is gone and there's nothing for you to eat. Birthing a child is a difficult thing to do. It's a difficult thing to do for women during the best of times, in hospital circumstances. But in days of old, in the middle of the winter, with no access to a midwife nearby, with the snows outside adrift, birthing a child is a hard thing to do. And the idea of a child born amidst the death of winter is an amazing message, because it reminds us that we're going to be here. We're not going to be here just tomorrow or through the end of the winter, but we're going to be here in perpetuity because the next generation has been born. And there is infinite possibilities in the moment of a child's birth. And that, I think, resonates with human beings around the world. And we celebrate by lavishing praise and presents and on our innocence, on our children, because they represent new life after the winter has gone. Here in the Hangin' with Web Show team, here in our home, everyone knows one of my favorite Christmas songs is a song. It's been done by many choirs around the world. One of my favorite adaptations is by the famous a cappella group Pentatonics, and it's the song Mary, Did You Know? And it's a series of questions. It asks the Virgin Mary, did you know that your child would walk on water? Did you know that your child would heal the sick, would make blind men see? Did you know what this child would be? And I couldn't figure out for the longest time why that song was so special to me. And then I realized it's special to me because I'm a dad. And every parent that's ever looked into the face of their newborn child will tell you, we don't know. In that moment, the possibilities are endless. That child could go on to do horrible things or great things. That child can go on to be a doctor or a lawyer or a banker or a mechanic or a lawn care person. He can go on to be anything. In the moment that you look at a newborn baby, the possibilities are endless. That child can change the world. And in the case of the Christ child, whether you are a devout Christian or whether you are celebrating a secular holiday this time of year, this is a child that historically, beyond religious belief, beyond the context of inside Christianity, this person changed the world, changed the way we look at one another, spread a message of love and peace and hope, and changed the way human beings look at other human beings. And every child born does that for at least a split second before you get into whether or not you can afford the college fund, before you can get into all the details. You have one moment of pure happiness, pure joy, when you look into the face of a newborn child and you realize that the world will never be the same again because that child is in it, and that child can do anything. And I think that's why Christmas speaks to so many people, because it reminds us that our futures are not written, that our futures are infinite in possibilities, that we can do better next year than we did this year. As Stephen pointed out earlier, we reflect on the year that we've had, on all that has come before, and then we look to the future in the most hopeful way possible by celebrating the birth of a new day. And if you go all the way back to that Festival of Saturnalia, it's the celebration of the unending sun, of a new day dawning over humanity. It reminds us that when the winters come and go, what's left of us will do better. And we get all the way up to the Victorian era where Charles Dickens invents the modern Christmas story. And he reminds us, how do we do better? We do better because we do better to one another. Mankind is our business. And if it takes looking at the face of a baby or thinking about the ghost of the future to put that in your mind and remind you that humanity is your business and that tomorrow is a new day dawning, then God bless us everyone. Thank you that happens. And that's the 2 cents from the peanut gallery from a guy who's not much smarter than anybody else, who's just given the subject a little more thought than he should have. And that's what I think, guys. That's why Christmas speaks to me, because it speaks that we're going to be here tomorrow and we're going to do better than we did today, and we're going to do it by being good and kind and gentler to one another. So Merry, Merry Christmas to everyone out there on Krypton Radio. Whether you're celebrating Aristide, is that it? Aristide from David Eddings' book series. Hogswatch, Festivus, December Ween, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Zamenhof Day. It's a thing. Trust me. I got the list in front of me. It's a thing. Night Watch. Whatever you're celebrating this holiday season, you're celebrating it with us. You're celebrating it with your creative community. You're celebrating it with your humanity. God bless you, and Merry Christmas to everyone that's out there. Some final thoughts around the room, guys. Okay, I got a little sappy there.
Yes, I have some fun things to lighten it up. You
want
to lighten it up?
Do you have some fun things? Go ahead, let's lighten it up in the last 5 minutes.
2 things. You were talking about days to celebrate. Don't forget, Christmas Eve is National Eggnog Day.
Gotta have your eggnog.
I'm in, baby. I'm
Gotta
in.
have your eggnog.
Gotta have your eggnog.
National Eggnog Day. Our really good friend Dwight McPherson over at Hocus Pocus Comics loves himself some spiced eggnog, and he is going to be celebrating on Christmas Eve, National Eggnog Day. But
Dwight likes his eggnog a little extra special.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all.
So, well, and, and we think of food and songs, and there's one that combines together, and I was really curious, and so I looked it up, which was that line, "Bring us some figgy pudding," right? So I said, what the heck is figgy pudding? You would think it is made with figs, right?
No.
It's not.
What is it made with?
Okay, well, for one, I love it.
First of all, I would not think that it was made with figs because I would never give it enough thought to think that. But you did, so tell us. What is it made with?
Well, and you also mentioned A Christmas Carol, and the Cratchits make plum pudding, which is also figgy pudding. It's the same thing. It resembles a cannonball when you make it, because if you ever looked at that blob on the Cratchits table, you're like, what the hell is that? That and it kind of drops like a cannonball into your stomach, too.
Okay.
But it's mostly any type of dried fruit, lots of raisins, that kind of thing.
It's the original fruitcake.
No, the original fruitcake.
No.
You had to get me started.
Right?
No. Because they actually used to put fruitcake in the tombs of the pharaohs. Did you know that?
Well, something has to seal the tomb.
Well, I'm telling you what. And it would probably still be good. You could probably open the tomb and still eat it. But no, the Romans used to carry them around.
Made by Hostess.
The Romans used to carry them around because it would last. So it was good soldiers' food. But it was also really rich because it had all kinds of pomegranate seeds and pine nuts and everything mashed together for fruitcake. Although I think Johnny Carson said it best, because he once said that there's only one fruitcake in the entire world, and we just keep sending it around and around to each other.
It's probably true.
So yeah,
Johnny Carson said it is probably true.
But so there you go. Those are
some fun factoids for the holiday season. Final thoughts from Sage. Stephen, what do you think? Final thoughts on the holiday season. Guys, I put Stephen on the spot because I did my whole diatribe on children at Christmas in front of my son. So
you really did. I don't know what else I could say.
What do you got for the final thought, Stephen?
Just remember to be kind, and it's not all gloom out there. Whatever happened before, just let it go, and there's plenty of opportunities to come ahead, and just look around at those around you and give thanks that you're there.
Awesome. Dina, how about you? Final thoughts for the holiday season?
Just love one another and give everybody a hug.
Hugs will be free at the Hangin with Web show. Dina will be at the table giving hugs all through the holiday season.
Yes, please have your ticket.
That's right. Have a ticket ready. Yes, thank you, everybody. We're down to the last couple minutes, and I want to take that time to thank some very special people. I want to thank Gene Turnbow and all of the great team at Krypton Radio who has supported the show and got us out there on the airwaves. I want to thank Yvonne Mason, an author and a radio host in her own right at Off the Chain Radio. I want to thank David Grace at Space Coast Comic-Con for always giving us a space to interview some fantastic and meet some great authors, artists, filmmakers, creators of all kinds. I want to thank Jake Estrada over at Space Coast Comics for supporting the show from day one and just really, really showing us some love and support and bringing us lots of guests and lots of good times and reminding us that we can do it. And I want to thank our great friends at Something Unique Magazine, F. Kenneth Taylor, KG Bethlehem. When there were 2 subscribers and 3 people watching the show, Kenneth and KG came on board and they supported the show, and we love them for it. And guys, we're very proud to announce that this morning, as a matter of fact, we just hit 10,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We have over 13,000 fans on Facebook. We are growing. We are sharing the artist community with a larger and larger audience. We love that. We want to thank our really good friends at Famous Faces and Funny, Rick Shea and his team at Famous Faces and Funnies. If you're shopping for the holidays, go online, go on over to Facebook at FFF Comics. Check out Famous Faces and Funnies. They've got live auctions. They're auctioning stuff off. They've got Pops, Funkos, costume pieces.
Ooh, love us some Funko Pops.
Oh, Lord, they got everything you need for that comic book geek in your life. So check out Famous Faces and Funnies. We want to thank our good friends at the Brevard Renaissance Fair, who have supported the show again for the last few years, and we love going out there. We get to interview.
Huzzah!
That's right. We get to interview some fantastic musicians, dancers, performers of all kinds, We met some of our best friends, long friends at the Ren Fair. They're fantastic. And we want to thank our great friends at Pound the Grape in the Melbourne Square Mall in Melbourne, Florida. You can check them out at their Facebook page at Pound the Grape. They're a great event space. If you're looking for a place to hold an event or host an event, just go in and join the wine club. It's fantastic.
Fantastic wines that they collect.
And, local beers, some fantastic stuff. So thank you to Cliff and Rebecca and James and Scott down at Pound the Grape. We're going to wrap things up here, guys. Thank you for logging on. Thank you for tuning in. Have a very happy holiday season. We'll see you next week when the Hangin' with Web Show crew will answer the age-old question. Virginia asked us before, is there a Santa Claus? We're going to answer the question. Is there a Santa Claus? We're going to do it next week on the Hangin' with Web Show's Holiday and Fiction Part 4. So until then, everybody, stay tuned in and stay logged on and see who we're hanging with next.